the musicians are made to feel like they are working for the conductor.
Yeah.
But working with Quincy that day was when it all changed for me. And even though he's like one of the greatest musicians of all time, he got up there, he's like, okay, all right, and he just danced with us. He made us feel like we're all equals.
It's awesome.
He valued how we felt. That is virtuosity and mastery and the mark of an incredible human being.
Go. Let's go.
Hey everybody, as you know, this week we lost a giant, one of the most important people in music history, Mr. Quincy Jones. It's been a sad week for everybody as Quincy has impacted so many lives, whether you got to be lucky enough to know him personally or you were inspired simply by his decades of music and his impact in culture, all the boundaries that he broke. It's really incredible. If you haven't seen the Quincy documentary, I highly recommend it. It's an incredible watch, and it really puts into perspective how important he was as a human and what he did even just outside of music, let alone the huge accomplishments in music. So yeah, Quincy is definitely one of the biggest legends of all time, and I'm lucky enough to say that I had Quincy as a friend, as an advisor, and as an investor in JAMMCARD. In 2018, we started getting our initial success with JAMMCARD, which led to Quincy following us on Instagram, and Adam Fell, big shout out to Adam Fell, who is Quincy's manager, getting on the JAMMCARD app, and which led to us meeting with Quincy, and he ended up supporting us and investing in JAMMCARD, which completely changed my life. Like, as you can imagine, having Quincy endorse what you're doing in music is it makes people pay attention, right? Like, people are like, okay, he doesn't do that a lot, so if Quincy's getting behind something, he must really back it, and his endorsement is like one of the biggest you can get. And even bigger than that, his endorsement made me have the confidence that it takes in order to go on and push through the whole startup world and building a company and building a community. And you got to believe in yourself. That's the most important thing. And him believing in me made me believe in myself in a bigger way than I did before or could really have ever imagined. So I have endless gratitude to Quincy Jones and Quincy Jones Productions and Adam Fell and everyone on that team that really made a huge impact in JAMMCARD. So thank you. And Quincy, we love you so much. Man, like, we will forever remember you and love you. And then, of course, one thing I always wanted to do, and we were able to do it, was I told Quincy I really wanted to do a Jam Jam around him. And October 30th, 2019, we were able to do it, and we did the Quincy Jones Jam Jam, which is definitely one of the greatest nights of my life. We got a lot of the original Thriller band back together, including Greg Fillinganes, and also had Harvey Mason Sr. on drums, and then we had Jacob Collier and Alfredo Rodriguez and Shalea and so many people from Quincy's life and career there in the building, singing, performing, and it was just one of the greatest nights of my life. So, and one thing that I wanted to talk about is Quincy that night. And if you came to that event that night, you know this, because the event ended at 11 o'clock and Quincy sat there and met every single person that wanted to meet him. I ended up leaving at 1 a.m. and he was still there because he hadn't met everyone yet. And I was like, you good? And he was like, yeah, I'm good. He had a security with him. He stayed there until 3 a.m. and talked to every single person that wanted to talk to him. And I will never forget that, because it was like he could tell that he knew that he was going to make an impact in your life just by meeting you and talking with you. And you could also tell that he genuinely loved people and he just wanted to talk to people and he wanted to have a good time. He was clearly an extrovert. But he sat there and talked to every single hundreds of people that were at that event. All wanted to meet Quincy and talk to him or give their love to him and show respect and everything. And he did it to everyone. And I'll never forget that, because, you know, at that time he must have been probably 86. He could have just gone home immediately. He could have gone home before the event ended, which a lot of modern day artists would even do. They'd finish what they were doing. All right, cool. Peace, out the back door. He stayed there and left after I left. He was the last person to leave the building. And I thought that spoke so much of his character and his impact, and just showed how much he cared. I woke up that morning and saw a bunch of texts from friends, and I just saw, I'm sorry about Quincy. And I knew immediately, I was like, oh no, this is it. And then I came downstairs, made coffee, had a glass of water, and was like, okay, let's open these texts. And I started reading them. And then I came into my office, and as soon as I came into my office to start my work day, I noticed that, of course, I have Quincy right here looking at me. And that's the artwork from the Quincy Jones Jam Jam. That's off camera during the pod typically, but that's always right there. And you'll hear people talk about it in the pod, like, oh man, there's Quincy. And there's another one of him on the wall here. And I also have this framed tweet, which is from when it was announced that Quincy invested in our round, Billboard and Rolling Stone, and everyone tweeted. And so this is a framed tweet saying Quincy Jones joins $1 million funding round for Musicians Network JAMMCARD. And that was like a major life-changing experience for me. It's the only tweet I have framed, right? So anyways, just wanted to come on here, take the week to honor Quincy, and share some stories from people who had the privilege of getting to work with him and know him and love him. So a lot of those people have been on our podcast. So here's a compilation of a lot of Quincy's friends telling stories of working with Quincy. So sending so much love to the Quincy Jones family, and Adam Fell and the whole Quincy Jones Productions team, which is now called Early Hour. Just much love to that whole community, and thank you so much for everything that you have done for me and for us. We appreciate it, and Quincy's impact is going to live on forever. Like it's not that he's gone now, and so now he's gone. Like watch, like Quincy will be blessing so many of us for so many years, and he will continue to inspire for generations and generations and generations. So much love to the greatest to ever do it, Quincy Jones. And we hope that these stories bring smiles on your faces, that you just hear a bunch of stories of Quincy being awesome. So much love, and let's go. John J.R. Robinson, episode 48.
Quincy and I had a discussion about, all right, you're going to be playing on these songs, and I want you to, I go, why don't I just program things I think should be on these records, and we'll bring them in on multi-track, and then Bruce will transfer them, and you're going to use them or not. So one thing that did stick was the intro to The Way You Make Me Feel. So if you listen to that, and it's really short machine SP12s.
Wow.
And so then I came in and overdubbed. We laid all the whatever parts I brought in, and then I laid down real drums. Those days it was Yamaha and Zildjian, and laid down just
over the top of it.
Over the whole top of it.
Wow.
And I had to play it perfectly.
And so you had done the programming on your own and then brought it to Quincy?
Correct.
And do you remember what Quincy's reaction was to hearing it?
I think he was really glad that he had all these guys in these driver's seats.
Yeah.
I mean, he had Larry Williams camped out in one studio programming and helping with Jerry with horns. He had Jerry in this studio. He had Greg in this studio doing shit. It was pretty impressive.
The dream team.
It was the dream team. The whole kit, you're setting it up.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the whole kit.
Right.
How about just a kick, snare, and a hat and a ride?
Yes.
And sometimes get rid of the ride cymbal.
Yes.
That's what Quincy used to do to me.
Mm.
He would f with me so hard without asking me permission.
He would just, what, like take away a ride cymbal?
No, he'd take away the whole damn kit. Like when we were cutting The Dude, David Williams had split and gone with Jackson's then Madonna. So we needed a guitar player. So Lukather got the gig. So Lukather was our guitar player. And, you know, between Abe Sr. playing bass and Greg
filling gates.
And it was a Monday, and they set me up, and I'm all, you know, what the gobos are around.
Yeah.
And I got to, you know, 4 toms, and it's, oh yeah, man, sounds great. Swedine's on fire. We're done. It's 5:30. Bye. See you guys tomorrow at 11. Okay, cool. Come back next day, and Lukather's there early, which I'm totally shocked. And he's laughing. He's, JR, look what they did to your drums. I go, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? You know, like a little boy. And I walk and look over, and they're all gone, except for a kick, a snare, a hi-hat. And that was it. And I'm thinking, what the f? And I walk in. Bruce Swedin, big Bruce, comes out. He goes, hey. I didn't even say anything. He goes, Quincy doesn't want any fills on this record. And turned around and walked away. And I'm going, yes, sir. Hence, what, 4 Grammys or 5 Grammys?
Wow.
So the lesson learned is that inspiration, sometimes you can get it from playing on your legs.
Yeah.
And coming up with some sort of a thing. Sometimes, you know, I'll play on tops of bottles to get a weird sound. When I was just in Asia, I walked in. I think I was in Indonesia, and they have like one of those hand drying machines.
Yeah. And
I put my hand in it with, wow, bingo. And I go, okay, this is so stupid. It's so funky.
Right.
So it was inspiration.
That's amazing.
So use anything around the house.
Yeah, because you'll play different when you show up and Quincy's got rid of your toms and your cymbals beside your hi-hat. You'll play different when he plays you the record.
It worked out well.
Wow.
It worked out well. But I was, towards the later years of us recording with Quincy, I managed to sneak some more drums back in.
Yeah, he started trusting you again. Oh, so the kick snare had lasted for a few albums or something?
Yeah.
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 Wow, I don't of all albums to not have any fills.
Well, I mean,
or like
I know Corita.
Yeah.
I talked him into doing a shitload of overdubs.
Nice. You're like, I send him back up, please.
Yeah.
God, that must have been an incredible album to work on, the dude. Wow.
It
With
was
that band.
It was heaven.
Yeah. What is it? I mean, how do you feel like to go back to those days, right? And you look around and it's like you and there's Steve Lukather's on guitar and Phil Gaines is on keys and Abe Senior's on bass. And
Jerry's in the room and Larry Williams. All these cats are there.
And Quincy's in the control room. And do you feel like the USA Olympics like basketball team?
It was the dream team.
It's the dream team.
It was a dream team.
Yeah.
And
did you realize it at the time?
That's a tough question. I think not, because if you start getting, I don't think that there was. I mean, I'm sure that Jerry and Rod realized it, but we all conversed at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that changed the face of the music industry, was that conversion.
Yeah.
And if one were to start thinking about the momentum that you're exhibiting every day in the session, it becomes egotistical.
Yeah, for sure.
And we were not that way.
Yeah. It's crazy because all of you have gone on to make such massive impacts in music.
Yeah.
Both together and individually.
I mean, with Rod, God bless Rod. I ended up, Rod would be funny because he'd come in every day, because I knew him from 78 with Heatwave, used to open up for Rufus.
Wow.
And actually in 77 they did. And he'd look at me and I was, had this blonde hair and blue eyes. He just, he's Rod, and he looked at me and goes, geez, like he's looking at me like, oh, and you look like that. And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? But I would get all these records. I would get Herbie Hancock records and friggin' Carpenters and Karen Carpenter and it just kept going. There were so many damn records, right? Yamo Be There, and it just kept going, and it was good. We had a good team.
What was one of your favorite projects you worked on with Rod?
Well, Rock With You,
of course.
Was the greatest.
John J.R. Robinson, episode 12. The Rock With You intro.
Right.
Most iconic drum intro, drum fill ever in such a small amount of time. How did you write that fill?
Oh my God. So we were cutting for the Off the Wall album, the song Rock With You. But I was very fortunate to be the mainstay drummer through the entire record. So Quincy would cast different rhythm section guys and put them around me. So I was very fortunate to play on every song.
Amazing.
And got to play with different bass players, you know, like Lewis Johnson, and Greg Finnegan's playing synth bass on Don't Stop. But it started by, after I cut a couple of songs, and then they asked me to come back and do the rest of the record on Monday. And that basically was party weekend central before that. got to the studio, boom, boom, boom. We did Don't Stop. And then I get asked, okay, so what's your schedule like coming up? And we want to get your band in and record this song. And I knew, Quincy knew, that it was a hit record written by Rod Temperton. And the song happened to be called Rock With You. And we did not know it at the time. But so we were all cast. It was Hawk Walensky on keys, Bobby Watson on bass, and David Williams on guitar. And we were in Westlake B, which ironically is where I cut Gaga.
Wow.
They wanted the exact same vibe, but X amount of decades later. But so we go in, we start listening to Rod's demo, and Rod's very precise and simplistic and has everybody playing a specific part. Now, the drum part, no, there was no drum part. It was just motion. But like the bass part Bobby's playing, it was pretty much verbatim. However, Bobby took liberties and played the most melodic bass part of all. Not until the correct take. So take one, I don't know, I probably kind of, you know, I cut it with a click that I programmed, and back then it was a Yuri old film click, 7-frame film click.
Wow.
And so I got the tempo, blah, blah, blah. We start rehearsing, and then we go, okay, we're ready to cut. So take one. No magic. You know, okay. Well, let's do it again. Okay. Little fill, whatever. Take two. Maybe a little better. People are learning their parts. Time's going on. I'm looking in the control room, and I can see Quincy and Rod in there. Rod's puffing on his red Marlboros. And take three. A lot better. No magic. And we're sitting there kind of in the studio, in a small room. And I see Quincy get up and Rod get up and come out of the door, and Quincy stands right by me. And I'm going, oh, shit. And Rod's standing right here smoking his Marlboros with his English accent. And Quincy goes, JR, he goes, if you could come up with a fill, an intro fill that the whole world would forever identify with this song, could you do that? And maybe on this next take. And I looked at him and I go, sure. like John Belushi, like, and all the guys are like going like this to me, like going, oh, like
no pressure.
No pressure. What are you going to do? And little did they know that they are going to be put in the exact same amount of pressure because of what's going through my brain. But I didn't know what I was going to do. So I immediately, I reflected back to the Rod demo, which was, it was weird. And then I thought, what do I hate most about drum fills? I hate when let's just take two examples. One is straight 16th notes and triplets, or putting them together is just wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong. And so I go, that's what I'm going to do. But I did it more in a syncopated march world. So then okay, all right, guy, ready, take four, let's go. And all of a sudden I hear 4 clicks, and then I have to go. So the 4 clicks were click, 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 click. And I just did that, but I used my military training, my march training, and I added syncopation, and I made sure there was a hole that you could drive an 18-wheeler through to get to the next downbeat. But it all came spontaneously.
In that one take.
And I was like, thank you, God. In that one take. And then we never did another take.
No way.
That was it.
That fill set the magic for the whole take.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, everybody's playing differently. Bobby's bass line is completely different than the other 3 takes.
Because you hit that downbeat and everyone's like, ooh.
That's what it was. And Quincy knew they were up dancing and shit, and it was like, Rod, it was great. It was great, you know, and blah, 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 blah. So that was And then we kind of knew we had cut a #1 record. It's like all of us looked at each other and we go, we did it.
Wow. That's so much pressure, and you did it in one take. It just came out of you.
And there was no pressure the minute the fill happened, but it was really the downbeat.
Yeah.
You know, as a drummer, man, when you land on that downbeat, I mean, that's word.
Yeah. I love that that's one take and it wasn't this like perfectly written or articulated thing, or it wasn't Quincy walking in being like, can you do something kind of like stupid?
No. I mean, on other sessions, Quincy's come in with a little piece of music and he's written out some fills for me for other stuff. And I'm, you know, and his penmanship was just perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it's the real deal.
For sure.
And I go, you really want me to play that? And he goes, yeah, play that, you know. Anyway, but not on this one.
Oh my God. So you knew you had a hit.
100%.
And is there vocal on that? Is there a demo vocal? Is there a Michael demo vocal when you're cutting those songs?
I don't believe there was a vocal on that. That's a great question.
Just an instrumental?
But I know he had been working on it way before I even got on the scene.
Right.
Through Rod. But Rod is always, he was very precise.
Yeah.
About all his records. Everybody had it was like a team, you know. So
on that Bad album, is Michael, is he there with Quincy and Rod and you, or is it like in and out?
Yes.
Sometimes it's, like, what was it like?
First of all, there's multiple versions of Mike.
I can imagine.
You know, the beginning Mike, which was Rock With You days.
Yeah.
A real pretty man.
Yeah.
Shy, you know, and then, you know, we get through, you know, the Thriller days, and then you get to the We Are the World days, and then you get to Bad. Things started transforming. But Quincy was allowing him to write more. If you ever notice, there's not Michael Jackson songs on the record off the wall. There's co-written. So he started to write more, like Bad. And Quincy was allowing him to grow up.
Yeah.
And but Mike was there. And it was during the heyday of when we were all doing our jobs. All the studios at Westlake were filled with somebody. So thank God I had D, the big room for the drums, and a big old ass rack of bullshit that I would trigger with a Mac sitting on it. Like, hold on, let me program that. And there's really nothing there.
Yeah.
You know, but Quincy wanted electronics, but Mike was there, and he would offer suggestions finally.
Yeah.
You know, which, you know, down to the end days of Michael, he would produce from his car.
Oh my God.
He would like call me and goes, "Oh, JR, don't forget to put a fill going into the bridge. I really want a specific fill, and I'll call back after you do it." I go, "Okay, why don't you just come into the studio? Tell me what to do."
Yeah.
No, I know you know what to do.
Daru Jones, episode 36.
It's Leo Gang every day. We know there's other.
There are other signs. You know, it's funny. You went like this for Leo Gang. So I have a photo. I have a photo of Quincy Jones and I was with Quincy, and Quincy always comments on me being a Leo, right? He's always like, that's why you're the leader, man, because you're a Leo. Leos are the leaders. And Quincy always says that to me. I don't know if you ever met Quincy, but one of his first questions is always like, what's your sign?
Wow.
Quincy's super into Zodiac.
Okay.
He's super into Zodiac. So anyways, I have this one photo of him and I where we went, so a photographer went to take a photo of us, and Quincy was like, let's give him the L, right? Like, that's a horrible Quincy impression. It does not sound like him at all, but he was like, let's give him the L, man. So Quincy and I are both like this. The photo, we're like, it looks like we're both just giving the loser sign.
Son.
Like, we're both looking at the camera, just like, I remember when we took the photo, I was like, maybe we shouldn't do the L.
Oh man.
Maybe we do a W for winners. Wu-Tang or something.
Wu-Tang for the kids.
Yeah. Big shouts, Quincy Jones.
Yeah, salute. I met him one time overseas during the jazz festival they had. I was doing a set with Logic, DJ Logic. Shout out to Logic, and he was there. Miss Hill was there. Amazing. And it was like, man, that's the guy right there. We might be related. We related. Jones, you know. But
come on, yeah.
maybe down.
Yeah,
but yeah, shout out to
you.
Quincy.
Could be one of his kids.
Thanks. Dang.
Quincy's got a lot of kids,
man. But yeah, big shout out to Quincy. And when I saw that he was a catalyst for joining you, I was like, that's the stamp.
Man,
Stamps.
that was a game changer.
Stamps, bro.
Yeah, Quincy's the man.
How did you feel about that? Like,
dude, about Quincy Jones investing in JAMMCARD? Oh my God, bro. You know, like, what was crazy was I remember the first thing that happened that tripped me out before Quincy invested in JAMMCARD. He followed us on Instagram. Like, all of a sudden, Christian, do you remember that? We were working, and all of a sudden I got the notification on my phone. I don't know, I just opened up Instagram and it was like, Quincy Jones followed JAMMCARD. And I was like, what? What? And I remember I ran through the house. We have a video. I think someone took a video of me, like, maybe you did. But like I'm like laying on the floor. I'm like, Quincy Jones just followed us. On Instagram. And so that was even crazy. Just him just knowing me, like, man, he's hip to our shit. Like, this was like, and this was 2017. Like, this was like the year JAMMCARD came out, you know, like, and then 2018 we raised our first like $1 million round. And Quincy invested and joined our advisory board. And I remember, to me, man, I mean, that was a trip. The whole thing was a trip. The whole process, like meeting Quincy, getting his support. Quincy has an amazing team. Big shouts to Adam Fell and Tomas and like the whole Quincy Jones production team. Who managed Jacob Collier and everything. They like run the operations, you know, like,
yes, sir.
And so big shouts to those guys. And we're close friends now. We've been friends for years and everything. But yeah, Quincy's support was just, it was so mind blowing. And then I remember the craziest thing, I think what hit me the hardest was when Quincy invested. So, you know, he like, you know, wired me money, right? So that's like, that's cool. Dang. I'll take Quincy's money. But the thing that was cooler
Sin space
was when he signed the contract, the investment agreement. All of a sudden I looked at it and I was like, I have Quincy Jones's autograph.
That's crazy. Major head crackings.
But this is an autograph that's tied to dollars and his belief and support in me as an entrepreneur, which was just like a game changer. Because, you know, what's cool about that is, I think on this entrepreneurial journey, so much of it is you believing in yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Like,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And, you know, especially in the early days, whenever you're starting something new, whether you're starting as a drummer or you're touring for the first time, or you're used to hip hop and now you're in rock, or you're starting a company, you're starting, for me, I had like a career in drums and now I'm starting a tech company. I was fish out of water, man. I had no friends in tech. So I was like super uncomfortable at first. Like, what do I do here? Right. So the biggest thing that Quincy did to me was him believing in me and investing in JAMMCARD just made me believe in myself.
It's amazing. That's
even more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then that goes so far. Like, believing in yourself is the most important thing. And it's
stepping out on faith.
Stepping out on faith, absolutely, which I had to do to start JAMMCARD, because I was, you know, making my living as a drummer. I was making a good living. Like,
killing.
I was
still killing.
I had, you know, thank you. I had luckily plenty of work, you know.
Yes, sir.
I was like, man, I'm good. Like, I could just keep doing this, but I really wanted to start JAMMCARD, and I had to step out on a limb and risk it all to start this thing I had no idea how to do. And that was a whole rough journey, and now it's great, but it was crazy.
I can only imagine, but you know, you stuck it through, you know, and it's a part of your story, you know what I'm saying? And when you do the recaps, you know what I'm saying? Like the 5-year or 10-year recaps, you'll be like, man,
oh man,
you'll be glad that you at least tried.
Yeah. Ibrahim Maalouf, episode 3. Would love to talk about our mutual GOAT, Quincy Jones. Just getting the recognition from him is obviously such a huge thing, but especially for you being a trumpeter, with him being a trumpeter. So tell me what it was like for you to meet Quincy and to like get acknowledged from him, and then for him to become your manager and for you to be with Quincy Jones Productions.
Well, first thing is that, you know, when you live in Los Angeles and you know that Quincy Jones lives in Los Angeles, it's something huge for you to meet him, of course. But when you live in France and you actually were born in Lebanon, and for you, he's a god, it's something that you can't ever imagine one day meeting someone like him.
Yeah. Because
it feels so far, so different, you know, it's like another world. So I was playing in Montreux Jazz Festival, and I knew that Quincy Jones used to come every year to the Montreux Festival, but I knew he was there for the big artists and for the, for Pharrell or for, or for like huge artists, for Herbie and, but I wasn't expecting him to come and listen to my show. And I met Thomas and Quincy Jones production team in Montreux, and they told me, Quincy is gonna listen to your show. He's gonna be on the side of the stage, and they told me also, don't be sad or anything if you see him leaving the show during the concert. But this is what he does in general. He doesn't stay. And I asked, I remember I said, but what? How can I know if he liked the show or not? And I don't remember who answered me. Someone told me, well, sometimes when he likes the show, he orders food. So, okay, I kept that in mind, and I was like, I mean, if he leaves, he leaves. That's life. But at least I can say Quincy Jones heard me.
Watched you play.
He watched me play, and he heard my trumpet. So I was playing on the big stage, and like every 15 seconds, I was like, just, how do you say it? Like looking quickly. You say sneaking or something?
Yeah, you were glancing.
Yeah,
you're kind of distracted, half.
Yeah, just looking at him to see if is he enjoying or not. Yeah. And then at some point we were like at half of the concert. I was expecting him to leave at some point, and I was always like glancing, looking, and and at some point I saw a huge plate of sushi arriving towards him.
Yeah.
And while I was playing in my mind, I was like, yes,
that's it.
Yes.
You got the tip.
He's staying. So at the end of the show, I went directly towards him and I said, I'm so honored that you're here and that you listened to this show, and I hope you liked it. And he was like, oh man, I loved it, man. I love what you do. And Quincy. Yep. So I kept talking.
Like, you're a Scorpio.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. This is one of the first questions he asked me. And he said, yeah, I'm a Libra. You're a Scorpio. Oh, nice. and I talked to him like maybe half an hour, 45 minutes or something like this. And he said,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and he suggested me to keep this connection with the Quincy Jones production and work with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was crazy. That was one of.
And then it just happened. Like that was it.
And then I started to talk more and more with Thomas.
Yeah.
Thomas Duport.
Our guy.
Yeah.
The one and only.
Yeah, he's actually originally from France, and so it was easy to communicate. The connection, speaking in French, and he explained to me how Quincy Jones works and how the Quincy Jones production works, and so we got along very quickly and easily. And he's such a nice person, as you know.
Yes.
So it's very easy to be a friend with Thomas.
Oh yes.
So we kept this connection, and we've been talking for years. And slow by slow, after COVID and after all this, it started to be more and more serious. And and we kept this connection and we kept working together. And I know that Quincy follows all this and knows what we're doing. And
that's so cool. I'm sure that felt amazing even before the sushi platter and everything. Just like when you're starting the show and you look over and like, oh man, he showed up.
Man, I sent messages to everybody I knew. Like not only family and friends, like everybody.
Anyone you ever met.
Do you know what? Quincy Jones is actually right now on stage. I'm going to play now and he's going to listen to me. Okay? It's just for info. Just take it.
You don't even have to write back.
You don't have to write back. Yeah. And my, family and everyone was so proud and all this. And when I told them, well, actually it got even further. We might work together. And it was like, wow, that's crazy.
I'm really grateful for Quincy and for the team and for Thomas and everything, because it's Quincy has introduced me to so many amazing people like you and Jacob and Dirty Loops and all these incredible artists that I'm like now friends with and get to work with and collaborate with, just like through him and through the team. And so yeah, it's been such a blessing. It's a cool group.
He's a soul that helped people loving each other.
Yes,
definitely. From everything he did, from the big Count Basie, Ray Charles, everything, even the for TV, for movies, for everything he did has always been connecting people.